Hey, good morning.
Good morning,
This is Cam
Cam.
Corder, and I'm talking with Bill Nash. This is attempt number 3 for me and Bill to try to do this. So hopefully this works. If it doesn't, we're out. But Bill, it's good to be with you again, talking about Wingate. How long have you been involved at Wingate?
The word involved. Someone I met the other day, and she said, "What do you do here?" And that's okay. Most recently, all right. So I came to school there in the early '70s, and then began working as a dean of men and assistant baseball coach in the early '70s, later '70s. I'm sorry, and took a little. Not a vacation, but tried something else for a couple of years early in the '90s. So you eliminate that little period of time, and so since the mid '70s, actually.
Anybody active now that's got more years than you? Poston?
Poston. He's older. He's a lot older than I am.
He is. He's much older. You can tell that.
And you still see Sylvia there, Little Sweat, and then Beverly Christopher, Dr. Christopher is as adjunct, and Dr. Doak is just recently retired. I could go on. I still see a lot of those folks around campus a lot, and they're really doing a great job with the emeritus faculty, bringing them back together because so much of they say, what is it about Wingate that's so special, and almost without fail, at some point it's going to be it's the professor.
That's cool.
Faculty student relationship.
So tell us about the sports programs. What's going on around athletics at Wingate right now? Well, I know it now, but tell us about
with the NCAA and conference, shutting down all competitions, it was really disheartening for a lot of students because we were off to a really good start with most of our spring sports, and this is coming on the tail end of a great fall. We had all but one team was in the postseason play. We're off and running again. I think another chance to win that Eccles Award, which is our conference excellence, but also even more importantly, find ourselves in the top 5 in the country, and what's the Learfield Cup that rates overall excellence, and that's from teams being in postseason play. So again, things were going really well. We got 22 sports, got 600 student athletes, got a great coaching staff, really good support staff for who they are. And, a lot of kids individually accomplishing things, on the field and classroom stuff, academic All-Americans in all region, so it was, we're off to a good year. And the winter guys were doing their part, and really, and then the spring sports were off and running.
And that's great. I keep up with, of course, the major sports, football, basketball, baseball, and love keeping up with that great volleyball program that has such tradition. And then Ann Hancock and the women's basketball team, I like to follow them. And they've got a player from Kings Mountain, which is Cleveland County where I live, and her name's Hannah Clark, and she was a freshman. She had a great year, so I love following her.
Yeah, is she the one you taught how to shoot? Is that the one you helped her develop her jump shot?
I wish, but I don't know her well enough to do that. But I want to invite her when we get this virus stuff behind us. She and I are going to get into the gym at the Y, and we're going to shoot some together. So I hope.
Yeah, she's a pretty cool kid, and she had some great moments this past year. They had a young team. They lost. Their graduation from last year was pretty significant, and I thought Ann did a great job coaching this team. They, didn't have the year that they are anticipating as always, but they were really competitive. Had some incredible upsets too. So it was still a good year.
So I was on campus a few weeks back, and I shared with you, if you haven't been on campus, you need to visit, because I circled through, and Helms Dorm is completely remodeled, and there's a dorm across the street from it. There's a dorm behind Helms Dorm, and the place looks amazing. There's so many new living places and dorms.
Well, that is, because still, we are a residential campus, and that's kind of a niche too, because that's, unusual, I think, in the higher education world. certainly. And so, you know, we want our students to live on campus, to be part of campus community. We want a student body that's really involved in things, whether it's athletics, you know, whether it's the arts or organizations or pre-professional training groups and, you know, all that clubs things. So having a highly participatory, you know, campus life is, you know, is a goal of ours at any rate. And we've got some nice places for them to live. And those who haven't seen Helms, who were there when you were there, when I was there, I stayed there when I was a freshman. And it was pretty cool back then because it was the only air-conditioned dorm on campus. But it's cool in a cool way, I guess. But now when you see the renovation, that in between those two buildings, those wings are, you know, like a resort. I mean, with a pool and swimming pool and, I mean, a swimming pool and a basketball and, you know, barbecue pits and stuff. Pretty nice. And the other places are really outstanding. So
yeah,
beautiful campus.
College life is much different today. It was almost prison-like with us. One phone, one bathroom, 8 guys, chicken patties, square pizzas. Now the food's good. The living places are good.
And even then, our
dorm names were the slums.
Our stuff measured up pretty well. Yeah, well, slums. I mean, what great stories there. I mean, you know, and it's, I know, affectionately referred to as the slums, but that was a great place to live. I mean, and there were some really cool people doing cool things that were down in the slums. So it's part of the great history and part of the stories. Yes,
I did try my master key. It doesn't work on the buildings like it used to. I guess it's been so long that y'all have rekeyed things in too many new buildings. But Andy Swain left me the master key when he graduated.
Yeah.
I forgot to pass it on to somebody else.
I was going to ask, so you did not pass it on to anyone, or did you just have another one made?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any rate, but no, that late night basketball was pretty fun stuff. And I know now, you know, legally and all that stuff, you got to be very careful about liabilities, but we were young and foolish, huh?
Yeah. Haskins got onto us because I wanted to be the first to play in Cuddy when it was built, and I had a key, and it was me and David Sherwood. I forget, there were probably about 6 or 8 of us, and the lights were on at 11 o'clock, and Haskins came in, and he wasn't real pleased with us that we were in there playing.
Well,
we could have been doing something worse.
Was that the morning after he had to send to get you to come to class?
No, that's that story. My freshman year, I took business law with him, and about 3 weeks into the semester, somebody was cutting class, and he handed the key to another student, and that student drove to the dorm, woke that guy up, and brought him back to class in a bathrobe.
Yeah.
And I was scared to cut class for us about 2 years, and then I realized they weren't going to call my mom. And so I said,
put it on your permanent file, Mr. Quarter. Yeah. Well, you know, there's that's not an unusual story to hear with during that era.
How many students?
What?
How many students?
You know, I know that overall the universities are close to 3,000, but that includes graduate students in the Hendersonville. But I think there's over 2,000 that live certainly on campus.
Wow.
I don't know the numbers like I should, but.
And right now, all that's moved to online, so there are very few on campus.
Yeah, the only kids left on campus are some international students, and some of them are student athletes, but and there may be a few other kids that are not internationalists. I think it's about 40 that are left now. Originally, when everyone left, there were over 200, so now we're down to 40, and they're doing a great job taking care of those kids. But the rest on the 23rd, classes began online, you know, for all classes, and so that's certainly a new, like most universities and colleges in the country, it is really a new environment, and I think things are going relatively well. But you know, that's another setup. I mean, you know, people think, well, that's pretty easy for you guys to do because you don't have to set up classes. Well, we do. We're now setting things up virtually, and the IT people are working really hard, and there's, I guess, a great expense in being able to improve our bandwidth or whatever the term may be, you know, to be able to, you know, connect with everyone.
So how can alumni help today? What's the focus of development and what's going on in Wingett's world right now?
Well, one thing, and I do mean this in a way, I mean, pray for the school, pray for people who go, because there are a lot of great people who work here and who go to school here and who have and who will. So, I believe in that's a very important piece to who we are. But the other is that in early April, I guess it would be actually this Friday or Thursday would be that one day, one dog, day of giving, day of serving, day of celebrating, Wingett. And that, because of this, was postponed or canceled for this year and converted to what's called Student Relief Fund. That our commitment is trying to raise monies that doesn't go direct, to the university for university operation, but it's available to our students who really have some significant needs. Some that it is the technology of being able to take the classes online and do their work. Others, it may be some travel, emergency funds or emergency things back home. And there are a number of personal stories that are coming to us of some real significant needs. And again, these are our students, these are our kids, these are our people, so if we can find a way from alumni, friends, to any gift, large or small, it all adds up, that we can, provide funds that can help them out as they reach us, that, hopefully we'll all get through this and sooner rather than later be on the other side of this.
Man, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I love talking to you. Love Wingett and excited about it. And I hope that, April, you can count on April and I to send a check in. We want to support the students there. I shared with Hannah Dickerson when we visited the other day in the development office. My Wingett giving story was right after I graduated. Harry Sherwood called me and said, "Hey, buy brick. We're building this new administrative building and everybody's putting a brick out front." So I said, "That's great. Just put Mr. and Mrs. Cameron Corder on the front." And he went, "That's too many letters. Can't do that." And I said, "Well, just put Cam and April Corder." And he went, "Listen, you cheap son of a bitch, buy 2 bricks." So we bought 2 bricks. Yeah. And I was the only one. So every time I visit, I go stand in the middle of that patio and find my name and April's name.
I got
just be proud.
Hey, listen, thanks for doing this. And so, it's great talking to you and regards to April. And everybody if anybody tunes into this, please, regards to everyone, from Wingett. And,
well, we're going to call it Nash Chat. And next time we'll add Chirp or somebody else. We'll do, if we get enough response, we'll add a couple other alums or, some staff, and we'll do it again.
Okay. Hey, thanks.
Great seeing you.
Okay.
God bless you. Praying for you.
You too. Thank you.